Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Good morning.
Time to get ready for your day with the morning warm-up with Trey Lyle. Join us live on VTRN Sports 93.3 FM or the VTRN Sports app. Open VTRN Sports on your smart speaker or stream live on YouTube. Time to get ready for your day with the morning warm-up with Trey Lyle and Ty Tracy.
Good morning. 7:03 on this Wednesday, May the 14th. Trey Lyle. That's Ty Tracy.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome to the morning warm-up. Let's get to it right now with In Case You Missed It.
Keeping up with sports 24/7 takes some serious effort, especially when you're sleeping. Don't worry, the morning warm-up stays alert around the clock. Now here is everything you missed last night.
So we're going to get to the NBA playoffs in 1 second, and we'll also get to the Jason Tatum injury. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but it's now official. But I think one of the most interesting headlines from yesterday is in Major League Baseball, and the one I wanted to talk about first because it is I don't want to put it as most shocking because after he passed away, it became kind of obvious this might be the path they go down. But I think it is the most long-term impactful from a bigger picture point of view of the whole entire sport when it comes to baseball than it is of the Jason Tatum injury, which will affect the basketball for the next 2 seasons, maybe even longer. This is just Major League Baseball has reinstated Pete Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson. I mean, the entire Black Sox, but I think the bigger conversation is about Pete Rose. Will Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? And obviously, I didn't watch Pete Rose play baseball. I'm not that old. Not so. No offense to people listening. I'm just saying. Obviously Pete Rose is the greatest. The all-time hits leader. He got banned from the game from betting on baseball, allegedly. And Pete Rose is a interesting character. I mean, he's an unapologetic dude that kind of, was Pete Rose. I think is the best way to describe him. And I'm one person, especially now that sports betting is legal, and I get attacking the integrity of the game with what he did, and if he did ultimately bet on baseball, like that is a fun. Like, I get it. I'm not here to say what he did was right. I'm not here to say what he did was wrong. I'm just of the belief that Pete Rose belongs because that was him as a manager, was not him as a baseball player. Him as a baseball player is one of the greatest baseball players we've ever seen. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. My hope is this opens the door for a Bonds to be in the Hall of Fame, a McGuire to be in the Hall of Fame, Sammy Sosa to be in the Hall of Fame, A-Rod to be in the Hall of Fame, because those 4-5 guys are all top 50 players of all time.
And they change the game. And they change the game too.
And they change. I mean, Bonds and Rose are in the top 5 discussion. Like Bonds, in my opinion, is probably the greatest baseball player we've ever seen. Like he's that good. He is that good. He's I don't care. He never got confirmed doing steroids, but it's kind of obvious. Like you look at his body. I mean, if you just want to take the years before he took them, he had a Hall of Fame career. I mean, this guy, the all-time home runs leader, like. He has one of the greatest outside of he has the greatest resume of any player that has never won a championship because he never won the World Series. He went to the World Series once. And I think in baseball, it's, but this is more about Pete Rose, but just quickly, 762 home runs, but just want to point in perspective, 14-time All-Star, 7-time NL MVP, 8-time Gold Glove, 12-time Silver Slugger. Just to put into perspective. He has most home runs in a season, most home runs in career. most bases, most walks, on in a season, and a best on base percentage in a single season. So just pointing out that's Barry Bonds, but Pete Rose. Other notable list, if you want to go through the whole list, Shoeless Joe Jackson, obviously part of the Black Sox scandal. Buck Weaver, Eddie CICOTT, Keket, I don't know. Lefty Williams, Happy Flesh, what's some names? Fred McMillan, Sweetie Reisman, Chick Candle, all from the Black Sox. Joe Goodovin, Gene Paulette, Benny Koff, Lee McGee, Shiflin, Phil Douglas, Jimmy O'Connell, Cozy Dolan, William Cox, and obviously Pete Rose. And if you don't know the Black Sox scandal, essentially they threw the World Series in 1919 because allegedly threw the World Series in 1919 because they weren't getting paid by the White Sox, and so they're called the Black. Like that's there's your baseball history for today.
I will say there's a documentary on YouTube, and somebody need to watch it.
So it's just if you want to add to this, and again, not to get political, maybe this was the reason why President Donald Trump did give Pete Rose a post, after he died, a pardon to clear him of his crimes. And I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. And if we want to go back to him betting, he didn't bet against his team. It's clear that he never bet against his own team. He bet for his team to win, which I'm actually okay with. I'm okay. I'm kind of okay. You have to bet the over on that. Your own stats is a weird thing. That could actually affect the game, because if you bet yourself to over 15 points, you might be you're not going to play. It's the Jonathan Porter thing. But I'm personally okay with, again, I don't think you should bet on your own sport. But if it comes out that you bet on your own team to win, I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, that's not going to affect the outcome. He's going to try to win the game for his team.
I mean,
that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
if you tell me you was on a team and you was like, yeah, I bet us to win. Okay, I'm going to play the best I can.
It's the same thing as if Ty and I were playing, I don't know, 2K, and I bet because I couldn't beat him in an actual sport. And I said, Ty, I'll bet you $5 to play it. That is fine. If I said, Ty, I'll bet you $5 you win this game, I'm gonna throw the game. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think to me that is the biggest headline. I know, it's not the biggest headline from yesterday because there were NBA playoff games. Tatum tore his Achilles, but that to me is something that will have a long-standing impact if Pete Rose does get in the Hall of Fame, because I think it opens the door for the steroids guys. Because the argument along a lot of people would make with the steroids guys, well, Pete Rose isn't in. These guys shouldn't be in either. Again, the Baseball Hall of Fame is the dumbest Hall of Fame in all of sports. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. When I had the Foul Ball Area podcast with Matt Atkins, we would argue about it a lot. And it's the stupidest, the Baseball Hall of Fame is the stupidest thing in the world. The way they treat it, these baseball writers,
it sounds stupid.
These baseball writers use steroids as an excuse for players they just did not like, because Bonds and A-Rod and McGuire and Sosa were not the nicest to them, even though I love David Ortiz and David Ortiz belongs in the Hall of Fame, but he's connected to steroids. Jeff Bagwell is connected to steroids. We can go to players that are in the Hall, Joe Clements, Roger Clemens is one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's stupid. It's just stupid. I don't stop treating your sport like it's better than everything else. It's just, I love baseball. And if you're there's a way to get these guys in the Hall of Fame and tell their complete story. Okay. So mini rant over. All right. Yeah. So let's get to other news and notes from yesterday. Obviously, the ACC spring meetings are going on, so we got a Jordan Hudson question yesterday, so congratulations, Bill Belichick. Reminder, Jordan Hudson, you are not banned from the VTRN studios. Come in anytime you want. I don't know about the UNC football facility, but proposal is to remake the spring calendar. This is actually pretty interesting. It's basically going to do OTA style practices. It would actually jump the practices up to 21. They would likely be 6 additional contactless practices from May to June to go along with spring practice. So it'd be, I think this is, I know it's more professional, quote unquote, professionalizing the sport, but I really like this idea. It makes sense.
Do you think other colleges go try to do that way as well?
Well, this will be the ACC, so I'm assuming
other
the
conferences.
SEC. Yeah, I would assume the other conferences adopt some sort of similar plan.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably see the same thing, similar idea come out in the SEC spring meetings at the end of this month or soon.
Mm-hmm.
They have those like midsummer meetings, so
yeah.
Before you know it, we're gonna have media days middle of the summer, so they'll all be talked about then.
Mm-hmm.
And not shocking news, but also I need to see it to believe it. Per Tim McMahon of ESPN, who's very connected with the Dallas Mavericks, obviously just wrote the book about Luka Doncic, which shout out to him, man. That Luka trade came out and he had the book about Luka. Like, can credit to him. But the Mavericks plan to draft Cooper Flagg. Yes, Patrick Dumont will not make the dumb decision. They will draft Cooper Flagg. Now, what do the Mavs do outside of that? I don't know. I don't think they're going to trade Anthony Davis. I think their best way forward is trading Anthony Davis because you build around your young star with younger players.
I mean, I don't think they're going to trade Anthony Davis.
They're not. They can't. Nico Harrison will not do it. Nico Harrison thinks Anthony Davis is just as good as Luka Doncic. He's not trading. He's not.
The only thing is that they ain't going to be. They're going to have. They're not going to be without Kyrie for several months. He's not coming back to probably
the playoff at least
May.
Yeah, late next season.
And so they're gonna have to find a guard for right now that can hold it down for him
at the cheap. Like the problem is they can't just find any other point guard. It's got to be a cheap, like because their cap situation. It's got to be a cheap point guard.
Because you still got Klay Thompson, and AD.
Honestly, for them, if they were number 2, they could just get Dylan Harper, and that would have been nice for them. But obviously, Cooper Flagg is Cooper Flagg.
Yeah,
deserving. A team is for sale. Ty, so you got $6 billion. Well, you know what? I don't think the Trailblazers would be $6 billion. You got about $5 billion we'll probably need.
I don't think they're worth that much. I know they're worth $1 billion.
No, they're going to be. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot. We need to bank $5 billion. The estate of Paul Allen is just starting the formal sale process of the Trailblazers. Allen, per ESPN, so. It's coming in this upcoming year, and all the proceeds will go to charity per Paul's wishes. And speaking of Paul, we mentioned a couple weeks ago, Aaron Judge, the captain of the Team USA for the World Baseball Classic. They needed an ace. Their pitching is really what let them down last year in the World Baseball Classic. Well, guess what? They're getting the man, Paul Skeens. Heck yes. I'm loving this World Baseball Classic team. All right, let's get to the NBA stuff. Boston Celtics announced on Tuesday that superstar forward Jason Tatum underwent surgery Monday night to repair. Successful? It was successful to repair his ruptured Achilles tendon, and which was obviously the surgery was Tuesday afternoon, and then which we all kind of knew. We speculated yesterday. We didn't want to speculate too much.
Mm-hmm.
This puts him out. Obviously the rest of the playoffs, but probably all of next year. We will not see him next season. I don't even think in the playoffs. I'm assuming with a 27-year-old with their long-term future, the way their roster is going to change, it sucks. It just sucks. It makes an East that's already weak even weaker. And
I mean, the good part is he's still young.
He's still 27.
Yeah,
and we just saw with Kevin Durant, like. Couple of notable injuries of recent. Obviously, I think Durant is the only comparison. Durant had it when he was 30. DeMarcus Cousins had it when he was 27, and he came back, and he wasn't really the same. But I think Durant is the best comparison. And Durant, obviously, I think Durant was not an athletic player. Like, Durant is athletic, don't get me wrong. But, like,
not like
his game was not, like, he's not going to, Durant didn't jump out of the gym.
Like, he was just more of a shooter.
But he's like one of the most skilled 7-footers we've ever seen in the history of basketball. My point being, Tatum has that to his game. I think Tatum was used a little bit more of his. You would assume his athleticism is going to go away a little bit, but I think I would not be shocked if Tatum gets back to all NBA level. The problem is it's going to be a question, and the Celtics, I think, will not be. The Celtics were looked as maybe the team to beat over the next couple of years in the NBA, and it's just next year they're not. I know people are saying I think they can win tonight against the Knicks. I don't know if they can win the series.
Tell you the truth, I don't think they're gonna win tonight because that right there really shot them. That really shot them bad. So I highly doubt they're gonna win. Nothing talking bad, just like that really hurt them a lot right there. And plus, you gotta think about it, Jaylen Brown is banged up bad too on his knee, so it's really
and he's not been good this playoffs.
So they can't do nothing.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I mean, bigger picture, the Celtics are going to have a lot of roster overturn because they're going to they would be a $500 million, so a $500 million luxury team next year, and they're having a new owner, and I'm assuming the new owner who just paid $6.12 billion to buy the team is not going to want to spend another $500 million or $500,000 or no $500 million, $500 million to field a team that can't win the championship. So it's just unfortunate. All right, so the games last night, Pacers are going to the Eastern Conference Finals, 114-105. The Cavs led as much as 19 in the first half, and then in the second quarter, Tyrese Halliburton took over in this game. He hit 6 threes. He had 31 points. Pacers ran away with it at the end, 114-105. They advance. You have to give Indiana a lot of credit. They just used their pace and overwhelmed Cleveland in this entire series. And they're heading to the Eastern Conference Finals in back-to-back years. And it's confirmed, by the way, TNT is broadcasting Eastern Conference Finals. I found that out yesterday. So that means we are one game away from a Reggie Miller in the middle back in New York City for a Pacers-Knicks series.
And Spike Lee.
I mean, they're friendly, but it just
I know
it's going to be great.
Bring back memories.
It's going to be great. But yeah, if we want to talk about Cleveland and their future, I mean, do they run it back next year? I mean, they just don't. They need a defensive wing, and they don't really have it.
Plus, they was banged up.
They were so banged up, but I don't think you can use that as an excuse. It's a disappointing. When you go 64-18 and you don't even make the conference finals, it's a disappointing season. Honestly, and anyone besides Donovan Mitchell did not help him this series. He had 35 in this one. I mean, Max Strus broke out as Tony Snell in this game. 0 points in this one. He did have 2 assists and he had 7 rebounds, but he did have a goose egg in the points. So shout out, he brought out his Tony Snell in this one. Do you get that reference? Okay. If you don't, just Google it because it's good. But yeah, Pacers advanced the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's talk about the game of the night. All right. So we talked about going into the postseason. The only worry about Oklahoma City was clutch, like closing out games. So they weren't, we go a year ago, they were in the second round. They were obviously the 1 seed. They were 2-2 heading to game 5 in Oklahoma City, taking on the Dallas Mavericks, who have an all-time great player or had, God, every time, Luka Doncic. Man, he's pretty good. I would never trade that guy. And then what happened? They lost that game. PJ Washington had a really good game in game 5 last year. Yeah. Dallas won that game. They win game 6. They go on in the Western. Obviously, they went on to the finals. So you're in this spot again. They were down 9 in the fourth quarter. Nikola Jokic is looking incredible. He had 44 and 15. He hit this pirouette 3 at the end of the shot clock late in this game. That was insane. Jamal Murray was great as well. He had 28 points. You had Lou Dort, who could not hit a shot to save his life until the fourth quarter. He hits 4 threes. He has 12 points. Jalen Williams hits a big shot late in this game after airballing a shot in the fourth quarter. He had 18. But again, SGA, 31 points. Closed this game out for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They win 112-105. They go up 3-2. Now, I think Denver's going to win game 6, and we're well on our way to a game 7. I feel like you would agree with that.
I ain't gonna lie.
I mean,
I will agree with you, but I feel like
Jokic did throw a really big punch, and I'm afraid he might not come back. But because he had 44, he had 44-15. I think he joins Will as the only one to have 2 40-point, 15 rebound games in the playoffs. 2 of them in one playoffs.
But I just feel like SGA is gonna close it out.
Yeah,
he's gonna close it out.
he was incredible. Like, my only worry for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and now especially, like, if they get through this series, I think they're winning the title.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very confident in that.
Yeah.
Now, with what happened with Boston,
Mm-hmm.
the Thunder they didn't play in a lot of that stat is dumb. Like, they didn't play in a lot of close games during sorry, they were so good. They just
I was saying you can't complain about that.
My thing was, you go back to last postseason, what cost them is late in games, they could not be reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing against an all-time great player, the best. Okay, he's the best player in the world right now. Like, he's Nikola Jokic. He's the best basketball player on planet Earth right now. But, like, I feel and he had 44 points, and you win. You get that win at home. You're up 3-2. You head back to Denver, which they could easily win that game. They're that good of a team. The strength of the Thunder were their overwhelming depth. They played 10 guys in this game, and outside of Isaiah Joe, 9 guys that played over 10 minutes. Isaiah Joe played 5 minutes. And their overwhelming depth is what is going to win them this series against Denver, because Westbrook has turned back into what we thought Russell Westbrook would be. Aaron Gordon, to his credit, has been awesome this playoffs, is kind of regressing back to the mean. MPJ, you just can't you can't rely on MPJ right now. You couldn't really he was shaky at best when he was healthy, and he's basically playing with one arm, which you have to give him a lot of credit that he's actually he's playing. Like, the fact that MPJ is playing and he's basically wearing a shoulder pad every time he suits up. But Ty,
he just haven't been productive this whole year.
Yeah,
especially since the start of playoffs. That's what I was like. Because that time when they won a championship, he was so productive. He was a person to rely on, especially on certain shots to make.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I think this win says we knew the faults of the Thunder, or of the Nuggets. Excuse me. We can give Jokic a lot of credit here. He tried to single-handedly basically win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And we could talk his praises. I think this win says more about the Thunder and their I don't know if the Thunder won the title last night, because as proven by the Boston Celtics series, you could go to the Western Conference Finals, SGA could step on something wrong and get hurt. That could, but assuming they stay healthy, it felt like last night the Thunder won the title. It's weird to say. I needed to see that kind of. I needed to see the last 2 games from them where they were down in the fourth quarter.
Are they championship contenders? Yeah. Actual championship contenders.
They showed championship fight in terms of, you're down in the fourth quarter and you have to win these games, and you do it. You close it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one thing I needed to see from them in these playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's ironically the only, I would never going to see it during the regular season. You're only going to see it in these moments. And they did that. And it felt like they met the challenge. They can check that box off, and they have everything now to win this title.
Yes, they definitely checked the whole box. They really showed you why they're the top. They're a top team in the West, and they're gonna come out the West. They're gonna bring the championship, their first championship. Well, it's kind of hard to say their first championship in OKC in franchise history.
It's funny to say. You know who I think is the number 1 team that's rooting against them?
Who?
It's the Milwaukee Bucks. Right? Because if we're assuming the Giannis trade happens, the Bucks want the Thunder and part of it just to raise the price. Because theoretically, the Thunder could give them Chet or Jalen Williams, the All-Star Jalen Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Jalen was you talking about.
Well, there's 2 on the Thunder,
but I knew which one you was talking about. The starter, the All-Star one. Yeah,
both have played well.
Yeah,
Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams. The Arkansas Jalen Williams has played well.
Yeah, both of them are playing well.
J-Dub has played better, has been inconsistent, but I think the fact he hit the biggest shot of his career he hit the biggest shot of his career in that fourth quarter to give them, it was, as I look it up here, he hit with 119 left. He hit the 3 to go up 106, 103. That was the biggest shot of his career. And it got them the win. And anyway, I think for the Thunder, the fact they won that game last night after they were in the exact same spot last season and they lost that game 5, to turn it around and win this game 5 is so meaningful. It's these moments that you see. We saw with every championship team, we've seen these kind of moments, and they finally broke through game 4, game 5. And it just feels like to me, Ty, the Thunder, like it's going to give them a lot of confidence going to game 6, especially in game 7. Like I feel like the only box they need to check off is win at game 7 at this point.
Mm-hmm. But if you close it out, you close it out.
Yeah, so, I mean, if they don't get to a game 7,
I know the idea is for them to close it out, but
I just think
but I think they can still pull out game 7. They can still pull it off.
It's back to where, like, again, I'm starting to give Jokic the LeBron treatment, where I'm like I'm not going to doubt you. Like, you're not going to surprise me anymore.
Yeah,
this dude hit literally a turnaround 3-pointer off of one leg last night, and I audibly laughed when I watched the highlight this morning. Okay, I rewatched it today. I watched shout out to NBA YouTube, who just put the final 6:22 on YouTube, so I could just watch that. And seeing that shot, I audibly there's sometimes I audibly laugh at basketball plays. That's the only way I can react to it, because it's so stupid how they could do that. I audibly laugh. But yeah, Thunder 112, Nuggets 105. Give us your thoughts in the comment section if you're watching our stream on YouTube or Facebook, at Trey Lyle VT, at Ty Tracy 90. Man, that was a really good basketball game last night. It was what we wanted. Unfortunately, the Knicks Celtics game with the Tatum injury sucked the energy out, because that Knicks Celtics game 5 was awesome, or game 4 was awesome in the Garden. And you had Tatum and Brunson just going back and forth, playing awesome. Last night we got it again with the 2 top MVP candidates, with Jokic and SGA just going back at it, going toe to toe, and they got to finish the game. And it was such a good playoff game. These last 2 games in this series has been awesome. And Thunder 112, Nuggets 105, and we're in store. All right, quickly, one hockey score last night. Stars go up 3-1 in the series over the Jets as they win 3-1. Bruland gets a hat trick in that one, so nice win for the Stars as they are 1 win away from the conference finals. All right, when we come back, today in sports history, later on the show, we have Bryson Gordon joining us to talk all things Liberty. We got Liberty on the Diamonds to talk about. Softball heading to the Texas A&M Regional. So we'll talk about that and much more here next on The Morning Warm-Up.
Get more at the Used Car Superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Your premier used car dealer serving Southwest Virginia and surrounding areas for over 50 years. With more selection, more value, and more finance options. Plus, your trade is worth more. Get the best selection with more Hondas, more Hyundais, all your favorite makes and models. Over 900 used vehicles in stock now. That's way more than any other dealer in the area. Volume selling means volume pricing. And we've got the volume all in one location on the Motor Mile. The Used Car Superstore is your one stop for cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Many have miles in the teens, remaining factory warranties, and some are even local one-owner vehicles. Plus, Sheeler owns the finance company. Getting approved for credit is easy on the Motor Mile, with financing options for every budget. We finance your future, not your past. You're a valued customer and not just a number on the Motor Mile. Get more with straightforward pricing and more inventory arriving daily. Over 900 vehicles on the lot ready to choose from. The Used Car Superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
Car insurance rates are rising rapidly. That's no secret. It's because the cost of medical care for those who are injured and the repair and replacement cost of damaged vehicles is skyrocketing. But what can you do about it? Hi, this is Judd Gardner with Gardner Insurance Solutions in Lynchburg. We've been helping Central Virginia drivers purchase the coverage they need at affordable prices since 1993. Talk with us before you pay again. We represent numerous companies and have many cost-saving strategies. Gardner Insurance Solutions, 434-316-5433.
Experience, reputation, growth. These are what make Brownstone Properties the area's most trusted property management company. With the recent addition of 15 new communities at Smith Mountain Lake, we have expanded our HOA portfolio to over 80 communities across the region. Combine these with over 2,500 residential units, and it's easy to see why our reputation and business continue to grow. Let our experience work for you. Visit us today at brownstoneproperties.com or 3720 Old Forest Road in Lynchburg.
You know Linex of Lynchburg for their high-performing bed liners with over 30 years of loyal service to our community. Did you know Linex Lynchburg is also your one-stop shop for truck and off-road accessories? That team at Linex has you covered for all your needs under one roof. Give your truck the look you really want. Go see Grant at Linex of Lynchburg, 1313 Thomas Jefferson Road in Forest.
Your home is more than just walls and windows. It's where life happens. And at Right Choice Construction, we get that. We're not just builders. We're fathers, mothers, neighbors, just like you. And every nail and every beam reflects our commitment to creating a place you're proud to live in. With Right Choice Construction, you're choosing a team that's been perfecting the art of building for years. So build with us. Build with experience. Build with quality. Build with Right Choice.
Fresh bread and local veggies. That's part of what makes a great deli sandwich at Anderson's Country Market 2 on the northern tip of Business 29 in Madison Heights towards Monroe.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected with the show at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
7:34 on this Wednesday. I almost said Monday. Thank God it's not Monday.
Almost the weekend.
Almost.
And
Monday, May 14th.
And next week is Memorial Day weekend.
It is.
Four-day weekend.
And starting tomorrow, we'll have the PGA Championship. We'll give our picks. Maybe we'll have Caleb. I got to text Caleb, I guess, and have him come in tomorrow. We'll have him come in tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow starts. Yep. So
it starts tomorrow. Yeah, we'll have Caleb come in or call him. He might show up here. We'll find out.
He better show up.
Well, he graduated this. He might be out of town. He already graduated too with Philip. So Philip's out of town.
Or we could call him.
That's what I was saying. I said we're going to we're going to try to get him on the show.
Yeah. I know he'll do it though.
No, that part I agree. It's just how we'll get to him. So, by the way, I booked guest. I booked a guest yesterday for the show. We'll have him on Friday.
Okay.
He's a great kid, and if you understand that reference, you will listen. You might have watched live to our happy hour podcast last night. If not, check it out wherever you get your podcast. It's out right now, or check it out on the Front Stretch YouTube page. But before we get to Bryson Gordon, another great kid who I got to see in person this weekend. I think I mentioned that yesterday. I know I mentioned it to you. I got to see him in person, which we'll talk about here. But let's get to Ty. He has a hot bat. I'm going to try to make these questions harder with Today in Sports History.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
Many doubted we'd ever see it. But here it is. The return to glory.
It's time for Today in Sports History.
Seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
They go length of the court with Archie Diacono. 3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship.
Let's hear what Ty really knows about what happened on this day in sports history.
All right, Ty. On this date in 1918, this ban was lifted in Washington, D.C.
Ban? I don't know that one. Guess.
You want to take a guess?
Kiss?
Kiss?
Yeah.
Like kissing?
No, the band.
In Kiss, I don't think anyone in Kiss was alive in 1918.
Yeah, I just took a wild
It's
guess.
sports related too.
Oh, you said what? BAN, just band, or BAND?
Band like no, not a band that played like this. This was illegal.
Okay, all right,
and it got lifted.
Okay, gambling.
No,
I don't know.
Sunday baseball.
Wow.
Yeah, so you were not allowed to play baseball in Washington D.C. on Sunday till 1918. Which
really? Wow,
yeah, which actually is like a long time.
Wow,
because of like Congress had it, like this whole thing in Congress. Like apparently, I just did some research. Like we're not here to get political. Like this was a hotly tested debate. Obviously, why? Because it's the day of you go to church on Sunday. And this was when the Washington Senators played in Washington D.C. Ironically, the first game was played 4 days later on Sunday. Senators defeated the Indians. Now the Guardians 1-0 in 18 innings. But yeah, I just saw that and I was like, I have to ask you. Oh my God, he missed one.
I was like, wow,
it's wild, right? Like you would think, you're used to things being on Sundays, like sports being on Sundays, and it was banned in Washington D.C. So like they would have weekend series, kind of like what's happening with Virginia Tech and almost said Virginia Tech and Washington.
Yeah,
Virginia Tech and Virginia are playing their final ACC series, and all the ACC series start Thursday this week. Thursday through Saturday, so they get a day off before the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
which is quite interesting. So, how about that, man? 0-for-1 to start out, Ty.
It's okay.
Are you okay?
I'm good.
All right. Well, good news is we're now going to more modern times. We're going to 1997. The Baseball Executive Council suspended this man for suing team owners.
I know he was a Yankee for sure.
Was
it George? That I don't know how to say his last name.
Steinbrenner.
Yes.
Yeah. He's not just a Yankee. He's the owner.
Yeah, I know he was a Yankee. That's why. That's what I meant.
He was the owner of the Yankees. That happened in 1997. Yes, pretty big deal.
You understand why?
He's like one of the most notable. He was Jerry Jones before Jerry Jones. Let's put it that way. And he actually won championships.
Yeah, because I was say you understand, half of my class was like Yankee fans, and I actually Boston Red Sox. They was about to look like they was about to turn the TV off on me.
I mean, who likes? Yeah, I wouldn't like the Boston Red Sox either. They suck.
I want to tell you, they hate the Boston Red Sox.
Good, that's smart people. I hope Bryson's already on so he can hear that. He is good.
Because
you should hate the Boston Red Sox. You should.
I told it was one story. One of them got to fight at the stadium. I was like, wow.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So the final thing here, it happened recently in 2018. The Supreme Court, we're talking all these political institutions today. The Supreme Court cleared the way for states to do this, breaking a long-time ban and creating I'm not going to say that part because that would give it away.
Was like a high court strike, something like that?
The Supreme Court cleared the way for states to do this. You sort of kind of, if I say the next word, you're going to get it. So it's something.
Betting?
Yes, there you go. Legalized sports.
Oh, okay.
So that happened in 2018.
Oh, because I knew something like how to deal with it. I remember hearing about it.
There you go. All right. I'll give it to you. So 2-1, 59-15. You're going for your 60th win tomorrow.
I'm going to try to.
So I got to find some super hard ones.
Be like, what's the name? Holding the 60 paper, smiling.
But I also I want to be fair because, like, if I ask you, like, who won the FA in 1994? Who defeated who in the FA Cup final? You would be like, I have no idea.
I can still try. I can make a lucky guess.
Man U defeated Chelsea 4-0 at Wembley. That happened on this date in 1994. All right, we're gonna come back. We're joined by Bryson Gordon, newsadvance.com, talking about Liberty baseball, Liberty softball, big weekend for Liberty this weekend, trying to confirm their spot in the Conference USA tournament and essentially set themselves up for hopefully a postseason run. And then softball, they want to make a super regional, but they're going to have a very tough test as they head to College Station. That's next year on the morning warm-up.
Mark Dalton here with Terry Volkswagen. Get ready to fall head over heels for the perfect VW SUV. One size doesn't fit all, though, and that's why Volkswagen has an SUV for everyone. From the compact and affordable Volkswagen Taos to the tech-packed Tiguan and the spacious Volkswagen Atlas. No matter which one fits your lifestyle, you'll love the comfort, performance, and safety. Stop by Terry Volkswagen on Forest Road in Lynchburg or check us out online at terrybw.com. Terry Volkswagen. You'll love our cars.
We're here with Colt from We Fix Stupid Computers. Colt, to go along with your residential or individual walk-in services that you offer, you also do a lot of business IT support. How about you discuss that, and what specifically do you do to help businesses in the area?
We see a lot of that. Small to medium-sized businesses, they still have their IT projects. They still need resources to help them within their office and for remote users. And so we'll step in and fill in the gap where we do a lot of projects for them, help them manage their resources, their budgets, and get their technology under control.
Colt, how can these people reach out to you to assess their IT needs?
Call us. Our number is 434-525-8590. Our website, wefixstupidcomputers.com. We're on Facebook. And our office is here locally, 14690 Forest Road, right next to Scott's Cabinet on 221.
Do you know what a cold climate heat pump is? They're a new generation of heat pumps from Tara Lee Mosley that provide substantially more heat than traditional heat pumps, even when it's 5 degrees outside. This means your electrical auxiliary heat runs less, saving you big time on your electric bill. And with the recent spikes in electric utility rates, that's crucial. Plus, these new heat pumps qualify you for a $2,000 federal tax credit. Contact Tara Lee Mosley for more info on the new cold climate heat pumps.
Car insurance rates are rising rapidly. That's no secret. It's because the cost of medical care for those who are injured and the repair and replacement cost of damaged vehicles is skyrocketing. But what can you do about it? Hi, this is Judd Gardner with Gardner Insurance Solutions in Lynchburg. We've been helping Central Virginia drivers purchase the coverage they need at affordable prices since 1993. Talk with us before you pay again. We represent numerous companies and have many cost-saving strategies. Gardner Insurance Solutions, 434-316-5433.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
Welcome back to the morning warm-up on this glorious May 14th. 7:48:6. I can read a clock. 7:46. Bryson Gordon joins us, newsadvance.com. He's going to have a busy time. He's going to be visiting a lot of diamonds, whether it's a softball diamond, whether it's a baseball diamond, as both Lynchburg and Liberty are going to be in postseason action in the area. Let's first actually talk about the Lynchburg Hornets, University of Lynchburg Hornets, D3. They're one of the top. I believe they're actually the number 1 seed in the entire tournament. They host a regional this weekend. They're undefeated at home. This Lynchburg baseball program is a really good one. The 2023 national champions. So your thoughts on them and their high expectations probably for this tournament. I know Ed had Ed Smith on yesterday to talk about it in the Fast Lane. Check that out, Fast Lane, Ed Lane, wherever you podcast. But high expectations for this Liberty baseball team as they head to their opening regional this weekend here in Lynchburg.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, this is a program who has kind of earned this. I think the three common things in the spring in Lynchburg, you got death, taxes, you got miserable, rainy days like we've had the last couple, and then you got Lynchburg baseball breaking through for some playoff baseball. And so this is a team. I mean, you mentioned all season they've really been high quality all year. They came into the season as opposed to ones previous with a lot of expectations. They were really high in the preseason rankings, and they've really lived up to it. It's been a mix of pitching. It was pitching early on that really elevated them, and then the offense got going, starting with that 50-run weekend back in April, and then ever since then they've kind of rode that momentum into the ODAC, and then it got a little hairy in the ODAC. They lost the first game of the championship and then had to force a winner take all, but they ended up beating Randolph-Macon, and so I think this is certainly a team to watch, especially given the playoff prowess that they've had, with their junior class over the last couple of years. That's been to a College World Series last year and then won it all obviously 2 years ago. So the junior class, the seniors on this team, they're really experienced. They're really high quality players. A lot of them, they have several ODAC all conference players, and they're led on the mound by Tyler Kaltrider, who's a VMI transfer who led the team with in innings and earned run average and strikeouts. And so they have the arms, they have the bats. I think this is a team that you look at them, and they're really in the model of the last two teams that Lynchburg's had that can certainly make a run in the postseason. I think it's going to start for them, this weekend at Fox Field.
Speaking of running, another great run would be the Memorial Day 10K run and 2-mile walk for the type 1 diabetes experience. You can register at tide.org. That's de.org. Volunteers needed as well. You can message them on Facebook or just show up to the event. Also want to shout out Easy Mobility Solutions and Lynchburg Ready Mix, both helping sponsor the type 1 diabetes experience Memorial 10K run and 2-mile walk. Other team that's looking to continue its run in the season is Liberty Baseball. Before we get to, obviously, Liberty Softball, both the Flames, obviously, unfortunate. Their game against Duke gets canceled. They head into a series where they're going to host Dallas Baptist, presumably, I think, the best team in Conference USA. They get a big series win this past weekend over FIU, which sets up a scenario where I believe they essentially just need to win one game this weekend, and they'll head to the Conference USA tournament. How important is this, first, the fact they got the series win over FIU to set them up for a weekend where they need as much, I guess, margin of error room as possible against a really, 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 really good Dallas Baptist team?
Yeah, the Dallas Baptist team that you mentioned, it is by far the best team in Conference USA. You look at the metrics; they've really kind of elevated themselves as the season has kind of gone along. The series win, if Liberty holds on this week and they make the Conference USA tournament on their home field next week, I think you can point back to the 3-game series at FIU as the reason why. Obviously, they could go out and sweep Dallas Baptist. That would be a change from what they've done in Conference USA play. A lot of the season has played really that well against a high quality opponent on the weekend. But you look back, last weekend against FIU, they did what they needed to do. Right, a series sweep would have been amazing for that team. But coming off of the win against Virginia Tech, they really needed to right the ship and give themselves something that was manageable going into this weekend against Dallas Baptist at home. And then they did. They won 2 out of 3. It was a tough game on Sunday to win 3-0 to get that series victory, but they did it. And now they come in with a little bit of momentum. Maybe they would have had more had they had the opportunity to play Duke last night. We know all about their success over ACC teams in the midweek. But this is a team, I think, they're starting to find a little bit of what was, hampering them early on in the conference play that was keeping them out from, being in the contention for a top 4 spot, maybe even a top 5 spot. And it's a lot of one-run games, a lot of close games that they've been losing. They lost so many of them in the early going. Well, they won 2 of them against FIU. They won a 2-run game. And then, Sunday was a 3-run game, but it was a little bit closer than the score indicated. It really came down to the last inning. And so I think they're starting to piece together what has kind of been bothering them a lot of the season. It's going to be hard to do that against a Dallas Baptist team that has been so good and presumably has a really elite bullpen that's helped them be so successful, throughout Conference USA play. So they have the answers. I think finally they know what they need to do. You mentioned it. The magic number is 2. They need a win, and they need just kind of one other combination between themselves and Middle Tennessee State to get there, because they do have the tiebreaker and the 1-game lead. And so things are looking, better for them this week than they were last week, certainly at this time. And it's thanks to those 2 wins at FIU. So looking back, if Liberty gets the opportunity to play, it's really going to be that series on the road in Miami that ultimately helped them get there.
Looking at this matchup against Dallas Baptist, obviously it's going to be a tough test when you're playing the best team in the conference. And then, we're 2 weeks away from the tournament, and I'm presuming that a host site might be Dallas Baptist. I think the latest projection I saw, they were the 16 seed, so they would be hosting a regional. So you're not just, but this is a team that's played good teams this year and has been competitive against good teams this year. How important will it be just to get, their goal would be win all 3 games. Obviously we're not, but the fact that if they can just get one, how big would that be in terms of just building some sort of momentum towards if they can make the Conference USA tournament?
I think it'd be huge because we've already talked about this team and their ability to win games over ACC teams, right? That's something that if it's a midweek, and you can talk about the pitching in the midweek, maybe the ACC arms aren't throwing their high quality, their high quality bullpen arms. Maybe they're definitely not throwing their high quality starters, but they're putting out the hitters that have, for all these ACC teams have helped them become really high powered offenses. And so I think whenever Liberty gets in this situation against Dallas Baptist, we've seen them beat, really high quality teams. We know what they can do whenever they get their offense and their pitching kind of matched up. If they can do it against Dallas Baptist, it would give them some momentum going into the conference tournament that they've been pretty good on their home diamond. Why can't they win the conference tournament, right? It's a situation where it's baseball. If you get one hot arm out of the bullpen and you get a couple hot bats, they can carry you a long ways in a conference tournament setting. And so having the comfort of being on your home field, sleeping in your home bed, a lot of those kids for Liberty, when the Conference USA tournament comes next week, a win over Dallas Baptist would go a long way in giving them just a little bit more confidence and thinking, hey, presumably they would play Dallas Baptist in the first game next week as 8-1. If they stay in that situation, hey, this is a team we just beat, once or twice last week, in the regular season. Why can't we beat them to begin the Conference USA tournament and kind of get this thing off on the right foot, and not have to start out in the losers bracket? That would certainly be ideal for this team, who we've seen, like I said, can beat and can hang with pretty much any team that they've played.
So moving to the other diamond in Liberty softball, they win the Conference USA tournament. They did have one hiccup. They fell in one game to Jacksonville State, and they obviously got them back by defeating La Tech in the elimination game, and then ultimately defeated them in the final 8-0. So one little hiccup for them in the Conference USA tournament, but they were the favorites. They go on. They've won 2 regular season titles and 2 tournament titles in their 2 years. I don't know if we have to go too deep into that, but let's get to first on, selection. Was it Sunday when it's announced that Liberty is heading to College Station, and this is the number 1 overall seed in Texas A&M. Your reaction when you saw the Flames when it Flames name on the board when they have to take on, or they'll be in the same regional. Theoretically, they might not have to take on Texas A&M, but I'm assuming at one point they'll face them if they're going to have to get through the Super in the number 1 overall seed in Texas A&M.
Yeah, much like the team, I almost missed it. I was sitting down Sunday night to watch the selection show at 7, and Liberty within, I think it was 7:04 was when Liberty popped up on the screen. And so literally, if you went to the restroom right before the show, you missed it. And a lot of the team talked about it yesterday, how it was the shortest watch party in history. The candor from the team yesterday was incredible, and they talked about how shocked they were to see Texas A&M, how surprised they were. Some of them, mentioned how they were. Like Rachel Roop specifically mentioned how she wasn't really surprised. She felt like the program has received a lot of disrespect in recent years in regards to its seating. So they were very open with how they felt about it. I think I was the same way. I was a little bit surprised to see them have to go after an incredible regular season, right? They didn't lose the conference series, to see them have to go to College Station and play. Dot Richardson called it, she called Texas A&M the team that she's put atop her coaches poll ballot pretty much every single week this season. So she knows they're good. America knows they're good. This is a 2-time national champion program. They've made 23 straight NCAA tournaments. So it's a tough test. It's a tough test for this Liberty team, but they talked about it yesterday, right? This is a team that if they want to reach their goals, we're going to have to beat quality teams anyways. If Liberty wants to make a super regional for the first time in program history, what better way to do it than going to College Station and beating the top team in college softball this year? And because like you mentioned, they're not guaranteed to play them, but it's the first team it's the region they would have to come out of. They're surely going to have to play them at some point. And I wouldn't sleep over the Marist team. This is a team that won 47 games and has a couple of really high quality pitchers in the circle. So beyond even just Liberty and Texas A&M, I don't think it's an easy region. And there were some softball talking heads who were pretty much penciling in Texas A&M through the region. I think if Liberty's pitching can stay hot like it did, especially with Elena Escobar, who's been unbelievable this year. Conference regular season pitcher of the year, conference preseason pitcher of the year. She's lived up to it all. So behind her, Liberty, maybe they can save her for a Texas A&M game and ride her momentum into another region final. That's what they did last year, right? They started Kaylin Yoder against Georgia and then went to Escobar for the final 4 innings, and she pitched scoreless innings and got Liberty to where they wanted to go. So it's going to be a situation like that this year. The pitching is going to have to keep some of this Texas A&M offense cooled off, and then the offense, it's going to have to come up with timely hits, and we saw the timely hits during the Conference USA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, and they're also assuming they were penciled in the same spot. They might be a rainstorm away from having to play Oklahoma, because for people who don't know, the SEC championship game between Texas A&M and Oklahoma was rained out, so they were declared co-champions. If you think about it, Oklahoma wins that game, maybe they flip with Texas A&M and become the number 1 overall seed. Then things change. But it gets kicked off this weekend on Friday. How important is it for them to, like, their goal has been, and we've talked about this, I've asked you about this, the super regional and getting there. The fact that it's going to be against, Marist and Texas A&M, presumably, would it be even more satisfying the fact that they did it in the year where they arguably have to face their toughest test in terms of being a 2 seed and having to play, the best team in the country this season so far in Texas A&M?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if I was in a situation where I was doing this, I'd certainly want to go up against the best team and beat them. I think it's just part of the competitive nature. After last year, too, I think is what would make it so much more sweeter. We talked about their close call against Georgia, where they reached the region final and then they lost the first game and then lost the second game. They were 1 out away from going to the super regional. I mean, you literally cannot get closer to going than they did last year. And so any step forward from that this year would actually be having to go to the super regional. And so I think and the opportunity to beat Texas A&M to do so, it's a softball power. It's not quite Oklahoma, who they could have played, who's the ultimate softball power right now, it feels like. But beating a school like Texas A&M, the top team, a team who nobody's really given them a chance to beat. I think, like I said, most people are penciling, Texas A&M into Oklahoma City into the Women's College World Series, and so doing so would be a big surprise. It wouldn't be a big surprise to the players in the locker room the way they sounded yesterday. They seem like they're ready, even for all the shock and surprise. I think they're very open and very excited about the challenge of facing Texas A&M, especially on the road, given the opportunities that they've had earlier this season against good teams. So rewarding, yes. Challenging, absolutely. But I think, like you said, if we know anything about Dot Richardson that we've learned recently, she wants a challenge. I think they're excited about it.
And it's just it's interesting that this is where they ended up. I mean, you feel for them. They have this great season, then they end up with the toughest test. But I feel like if you're a Liberty fan or you're this Liberty team, you appreciate their mindset, them being all in on, this is still the goal. We don't care who we're playing. We would have had to presumably play them anyways in a super regional if we want to get to the College World Series, which is the ultimate end goal here, right here on VTRN Sports 93.3 FM, 1320 AM, and on the VTRN Sports app. That is W227BG Timberlake and WVGM Lynchburg, WMNA Gretna Southside, as we're going a little over here, as we're here with Bryson Gordon. We appreciate you spending some time with us today, and we'll talk to you next week after we find a clearer picture if Liberty softball advances and how Liberty baseball does in the Conference USA tournament, or at least they'll be in the middle of it probably by the time we talk next week.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on. It's going to be some busy times in Lynchburg.
That will do it for today on the morning warm-up. When we return, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll have Andrew Alex join us. We might have Caleb join us talking a little golf, but now to VSiN by the book.
Europe 3 or 4 times now, so this will be something he's very familiar with. I trust the team to be ready to take on a Jags team that they'll likely be favored against.